I had a wardrobe malfunction. It wasn't as much fun as a superb owl one, but it was a malfunction. Hi, and welcome to Quilt Meets World, where we have adventures in piecing and joy. I'm Russ. Come on into my sewing room. Well, it's been another week. The good news is that Percy's lab results came back good. Everything came back clear, no diabetes, no infections of anything. So, still not quite certain why he has his good days and bad days, but he's had nothing but good days since the appointment. Hopefully, he will, stay like this, but, keeping him on tabs and everything, and have to make sure that he gets his Silencia shots every, month, like right on time. I know I've talked about in the past about getting a little buddy for him, but as time and time happens, it's probably not going to happen. As much as I want to have a second cat in the house, uh, Percy has to be on a special diet because he's a little chunky, and you can't easily keep one cat from eating another cat's food. And it's probably pointless for me to go try to find a chunky cat. So, yeah, it's probably just going to be him and Riley for a while. If he ends up, losing some weight and getting off of the special diet, then maybe, but we will have to see what happens. He will get to be king of the castle and stay that way. And like I said, he and Riley are so hilarious at times. With Riley, I'm just getting more and more upset at some of the neighbors. Yesterday, before I went to Saturday Sampler, I was out and about early, so I said, okay, let's go take the larger route around the neighborhood. Keep her out for a few more minutes just because it was a gorgeous day. We get around to the last corner, and I turn, and there is this random dog that I had never seen out before. And I'm like, okay, so we just stop at the corner far enough away from the dog that if the dog started coming our direction, I can scoop her up and everything and make sure she's fine. Because, if you have a leash dog and an unleashed dog, unpredictability. In fact, if you have just two dogs together, unpredictability, and especially if they don't know each other. There was this little girl, probably 6 or 7 maybe, and she's trying to call the dog, and the dog is not listening to her, which is more of a reason for us to stay far away. And the dog just starts heading down in the direction of my house, so the opposite direction of where we are. And I'm assuming it's the dog's human daddy that is heading in the direction past there. And I'm like, okay, well, he'll have the dog picked up in probably a minute or two. And we're sitting there waiting. 5 minutes goes by, and I'm like, the dog hasn't come back yet. Maybe he's just gone straight down past the Stream of Sorrows and everything, and it's safe to go. Head around the corner, and when I get into my neighbor's yard, the dog is across the street. And I'm like, oh, gee. So I've got Riley on her little short leash, and the dog starts coming over here. And I just pick Riley up. Throw down the poo because I had the poo bag in the hand. I throw down the poo and pick Riley up. And I'm like, you better get your dog away from me. Uh, People ended up coming in a vehicle, and I guess the dog likes trips, getting in the car and stuff. But the dog didn't seem interested in getting in the car because the dog was free. He said the dog got out of the backyard, not seen these people before. Uh, Either way, as I tell people, first time is an accident, so I didn't bother anything. But hopefully, nothing continues on with that family. Like I said, I hadn't seen them before. Maybe they were visiting because the little girl, I don't think, is the family of the little girl. Or I don't think she belongs to the family that lives there, if that makes any sense. Either way, everybody's fine. I was a little bit late trying to get a Saturday sampler, but I still got there on time. In here in the sewing room, it's been mostly quiet because of stupid work. On Wednesday, I did get to spend my lunch break in here for a few minutes joining Stephanie's Zoom. It was the last one without Steven because they do sewing with Steven and Stephanie on Wednesdays, and it was just sewing with Stephanie. I got a few more of the half square triangle blocks sewn for the blueberry grunge quilt that I am still working on. It's been a little bit. I've got just a small handful left to sew before I can start cutting them out, and then I have to throw them into a bucket so I can randomly pulling them out together because it's going to be the best way to do random, although still haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do that. Yesterday, Saturday, was Saturday Sampler at my local quilt shop. I did show and tell with things that I have completed over the past couple weeks, and it was a lot of fun because there was one thing that I don't think anyone had shown and told before. It was the rope bowl. Everybody was just all excited about that, and they were asking all kinds of questions. And I was like, it was not as difficult as I thought, but it did give my zigzag a workout, and I should have did more bobbins. I also showed the canvas bag that I made on my Elevensies Live a few weeks ago. So they did get a couple Saturday sampler things out of me, even though I didn't have any finished quilts yet. Yeah, that's been a little bit of an issue. I after everything was over, I picked up my next block for Saturday sampler, headed into the car, sat down, and I just heard a giant rip. And I'm like, oh. And I look down, and there is a giant rip on the side of my shorts. And I giggled, I laughed, it was hysterical. And yeah, I ripped my shorts. Thankfully, it happened after Saturday Sampler was over and not at the quilt shop. I still was able to stop at Chick-fil-A and go through the drive-thru to get my breakfast. And I came out here to work on everything. The good news is I've had those shorts for many, many years. So I've gotten plenty of full use out of them. So I guess it's time for me to go buy some new shorts. On my 11Zs yesterday, I sewed up the freshly picked Saturday sampler block on my live. It was a lot of fun. I initially wanted to work on the Fort Worth Fabric Studio Sunshine on My Mind mystery project, but the first week of that was just nothing but cutting. The past couple projects, week one was cutting and a block, and this time week one was just cutting. So I was like, I need something to do. I worked on Saturday sampler block. I would have done the cutting, but I don't have a cutting cam, and it would be probably really boring for you guys just to watch me looking over here trying to cut with nothing else happening. So I was like, Saturday sampler seems like a better option for it. And now it's done. I don't have to worry about anything for the next 4-5 weeks, however long it takes to get to the next Saturday sampler. This is going to be a fun week because I have Monday and Tuesday off. Doesn't happen often. I need a little bit of break, and it's going to be awesome. What am I going to do? First things first, I'm due for a pedicure again. It's been just over a month since the last time I got my toes did, and I definitely can't let my toes go as long as it happened last time because the lady was just like horrified at how bad it was. She did a good job. I gave her an extra tip because she had to work with the extra work. I also need to get my sister's birthday presents out. Her birthday is next week and on next Monday. So I need to make sure that I get her stuff out so she has plenty of time in transit of something, and then she can decide if she wants to open them early or open them on her birthday. It's going to be a lot of fun to figure out what gifts she likes of the handful of things that I found over the past few months. I don't know what her favorite is going to be yet, but I do have a suspicion. I also need to get my Socialites 2 quilt up to the local quilt shop for the porch party that is happening next weekend on the 27th. I have signed up for it. I'm putting in my Socialites 2 quilt because I just wanted something that was, bright, cheery, and has a lot of excitement around it. I can't wait to see all the wonderful quilts that are being shared next weekend, and I will give you guys a little of a peek whenever I get some video on it. One other thing, I initially was planning on having a little bit of an event this Friday, April 26th. However, there's been a couple scheduling conflicts that rose that were kind of out of my control. So, yeah, that's going to have to be shifted a little bit. I haven't quite figured out when yet, but as soon as I know and get all the applicable details, I will put everything out as the event approaches. I'm being intentionally vague to you guys because it's kind of exciting, and as soon as I have more details, I will know soon. The handful of people who do know what the event was, I'll be reaching out to you soon to see when an alternate date can happen in order to make sure you guys have the availability. Anyway, I think that's about all I have for this week's shenanigans. Thank you so much for spending this little bit of time with me. If you wouldn't mind, please give the YouTube algorithm some love by liking, commenting, subscribing, and telling a puppers how cute they are. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Until next time, stay happy and keep stitching.